Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. I've got a question for you. Is a little love better than none at all? You see, there's a common mistake that you may be making in your love life. In fact, it's something I see almost everyone in the GPS for Love community make. And to be honest, it's a mistake that I made many, many, many years ago. And that is that we're so hungry for love that we make choices and decisions that often work against us. And some of these choices are that we tend to jump into relationships way too soon. Or we're so hungry and so desperate for love and afraid we're never going to find it that we stay in relationships that aren't really serving us. Or what often happens is in the beginning, you're interested in a guy. You really don't know much about him. You don't even know if he's the kind of guy that you're looking for. But because he's attractive, because you feel this chemistry, you feel something that you try really hard to make him like you and make him fall in love with you. And sometimes one of the ways you do that is you have sex with him way too soon, thinking that that's going to be the answer. Well, how has that worked out? Well, what I found is it often comes down to two reasons. It's actually two fears. And those fears are, the first one is that we're not good enough. See, we won't be loved as we are, and so we have to settle. And I understand there was a time in my life where I did the same thing. And that second fear is that ultimately we won't be loved, and that we won't find love, and that we'll wind up being alone. And that just scares the crap out of us. The idea of that we'll never find someone, we'll never be able to wake up next to that awesome person that we get to share our life with, just is so scary that we're willing to settle for crumbs when we could have the whole pie. Now, I want you to know that if you're going to have a great relationship, one that's going to stand the test of times, you've got to be willing not to settle. You've got to be willing to give up the good to go for the great. And that's one of the scariest things that we can do as human beings. And what I found in almost every person's life who has a great relationship, they got to that point where they were willing to walk away from the good. They were willing not to settle. They were willing not to tolerate that toilet bowl love so that they can get that awesome, great relationship that they were ultimately looking for. So I'd like you to answer this question. And it's perfectly okay no matter what your answer is, but I want you to get to your truth. And that question is a little love better than none at all? Is that okay for you? Are you willing to settle? And if you are willing to settle, that's perfectly cool. It's your life and it's your journey. But you know what? You then give up the right to complain. You can't go back and say, you know what, this doesn't work for me. This isn't what I want, because you're making a conscious choice. But on the other side, if it's not okay, if you're not willing to settle, that a little love isn't good enough for you, you want that great relationship, even if you're afraid you're never going to get it. That's a video for another day. What I want you to do is I want you to take some mirror time. I want you to step out of your life as an observer. And I want you to see where your actions aren't in alignment with your words and your desires. Where are you showing up? What are the choices and decisions that you are making which are indicating that you're settling, which are indicating that you're afraid that you may not be good enough, and so you take a guy who treats you the way you don't want to be served, the way you don't deserve to be. I'm sorry, first thing in the morning here. Or where in your life are you doing things that are showing how desperate you are to find love, and that you're acting from that fearful place? And the purpose of this, again, is not to judge yourself and beat yourself up, but to shine the light on where you may be going wrong, because that's how we really learn. You know, in order to get to where you want to go, you've got to understand where you've been and how that hasn't been working for you. So I know this is one of those little deep videos, but you know, here at GPS for Love, we're all about what needs to happen in order for you to have that great relationship. And if you believe it can't happen or it's not going to happen, look at me. Look at some of the other people who have been on this site, who have shared their testimonials, who have been in your shoes. The universe doesn't pick and choose. You can have that great relationship. But I want you to know it's up to you. If it's going to happen, you've got to make it happen. And it doesn't need years of therapy to learn how to do that. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to learn how to do things a little differently so that you can create the result you desire and you deserve. I know it's going to happen. Do you? As always, it's an honor and privilege to be here and to be sharing this with you. Now, what I'd love for you to do is, after you take that mirror time, is to hop on over to the blog and share what you've learned. Share your observations, because the GPS for Love community is a safe place for you to receive and also give guidance for others who are struggling. Because one of the challenges is we think we're alone. We think we're the only ones going through this, when we're really not. We're really all on a similar journey. So learning to connect with others, learning to share, and learning to give and receive insight is going to make your journey much easier and much more enjoyable. As always, it's a blessing to be here. I'll see you next time. Much love.